Now, I'm not gonna lie, the entire reason I started this show was because of the opening song. I had a handful of people say, hey, you should check this one out, it's quite good, you'll probably like it, but I mean, I get told that about every anime at least once in a season, so truthfully, there wasn't enough people to making waves in my comment that I was like, okay, I should very much check out at least the first episode. But then I remember the opening song, it started like popping up on my Twitter, Reddit, it became like one of the top posts there on r/anime, and I listened to it and I was like, okay, one of two things is about to happen. Either A, the most mid-tier anime somehow got one of the grooviest openings of the season, if not of this year, which apparently the opening song that is in this show is actually a cover of like a European song or something like that, so it's just a very cool concept in general for an anime opening while simultaneously being one of the biggest bops of the season. Or the show was going to be absolutely amazing and the opening perfectly captures the epicness or the quality that it's laying out. Thankfully, it was quality. The show is fantastic. I've watched the first 3 episodes. Episode 3 just released today as of the release of this video as well. I think episode 1 actually started at the last week of last month, so like as all the other shows last season were ending, this one kind of came in, and honestly, because of that, I think it kind of went under a lot of people's radar. And if there was one way to hook people in, I'm glad it was the opening, because I know I'm not alone in that statement. I've seen a lot of people being like, shit, I watched this because the opening was cool, and I'm really glad the opening hooked me that much, because otherwise I would have missed out on a pretty quality production. I think the idea of the Three Kingdoms is something that you could expect in the anime medium, though the idea of twisting it in a modern setting, having a character from the Three Kingdoms period, but now as like a manager of a girl who he believes has the voice of a goddess and just wants to see her succeed in life as he's using all these military big brain tactics that he would normally use to kill his enemies. Now he's using to sabotage like other music artists, whether it's a pop singer who basically is placing Echo on a stage opposite to her, basically to make her look better, or the idea of, you know, going up against a band that's basically about to get signed to a record deal, and you pop on just as their songs are starting to fade out and they're going to talk to the audience, and he comes in blasting, making everyone flock to them. I think this show is pretty confident in being different, which this comes to us from PA Works, which is an interesting one because if I'm not mistaken, this might be PA Works' first manga adaptation. I mean, this is like one of, if not the only manga adaptation I can recall from PA Works in quite some time, if ever, honestly. But the idea of just them doing something different and choosing to adapt something rather than creating their own work series, which is what they usually do, it's pretty refreshing. I mean, it doesn't even feel like typical PA Works animation. It feels, honestly, like I thought this was a studio I just didn't recognize at first watching it, and then I dug into the details a bit more, and I was like, shit, honestly, usually they have a style, but I'm glad that they kind of went outside their comfort zone for something that clearly is going outside the comfort zone of anime, because truthfully, music anime, sure, kind of like trollish characters, maybe have the vicious glares. There's elements that I've seen, because as a whole package, Ya Boy Kongming is seriously unique. It really, really is. I think just the idea of like, honestly, like when it comes to reincarnation, isekai style stories, the idea of someone who was just such a strategist back in the day just wakes up in what used to be his younger body, and now he's just in the streets of just a modern city, right? And the fact that he is so socially awkward, people just look at him as a cosplayer. And the fact that there's just so many great things, like when basically this girl Echo kind of takes him in because he was like the one person who paid attention to her at the debut kind of like concert for the audience, I guess is how I should say it, because she's been going up on the stage at the bar she works at for some time, but no one really pays attention. And then you have this man who looks like a weirdo who is acting like, you know, she's the second coming of Jesus Christ. And I love the fact that as she's explaining technology and stuff, you know, he just drops these like hilarious lines like he already has a wiki page and things like that. And just to see how it's interesting, because usually when you have characters similar to him, right, the idea of taking his prior experience in battles, I often would probably come out saying, it kind of feels like they're stretching the ploy here. And I don't know that much about the Three Kingdoms, okay? I really don't. It's never been something I've been overly interested in. When it's there, it's there. I'm not mad it's there, but it's not something I'm going to go out of my way the same way I will with mythologies like Greek and Roman mythology and study up on it. But I love the idea, whether it's in episode 2 or episode 3, when he's basically sabotaging the other. I love how it's intelligently done that you can believe it was a real-world tactic before, but just twisted in a pretty funny modern anime fashion. In episode 2, basically, the stages are separated and there's 2 people playing at the same time. Of course, the popular artist will have all the people, and, the other one's kind of like a sacrificial goat, just there to make the other stage look better because no one's going and there's not competition. But I love the idea of the way he gets people to come there is first he bribes them with drinks, but he sets the lighting and the fog and everything in a certain way that it's hard to find your way out because he positions things to make it look like they're going in a circle when really the exit's at the same spot it always is. And then ultimately, because her singing is actually good, they stop trying to find the exit. It's a pretty brilliant strategy. And then in the latest episode here, you have this band who has a singer who basically can't sing the hit song that they're most known for 2 nights in a row, which is a real thing. Even if you can sing, it's not necessarily that your vocals could handle back-to-back days like that. Many can, but not everyone, right? So the idea that he bet on them believing that they'd have an easy time and they could take it easy because, the sound equipment isn't working for echo and things like that. And I love the idea of, basically when they're about to announce to the crowd, just general communication. They don't have competition. They don't need to be on 100% the entire duration. And then she comes in with a hit cover of one of the more popular songs and everyone flocks to them. But I like how he's not just an asshole, right? Because he obviously believes in Echo. He believes in her vision of being a singer. But he also recognizes that, this band has talent. It's just, they got a little complacent, they got a little lazy. He even asked for their autograph after giving them this, soothing remedy for the vocals. And probably this man's going to be fine for the rest of his life performing. Might even be able to perform that hit song 2 days in a row because of this ancient concoction that he kind of came up with back in the day there. I just love this show for how confident it is in being silly, in being serious at certain moments, but for the most part, just being different. You can't compare the show to anything, in my honest opinion. Sure, it's a music show. Sure, it's a historical drama in a certain way, but it really is just Ya Boy Kongming. I really enjoy it. I also like the individual songs that are backing the artist, in episode 2 when you have the kind of pop star there. I loved her singing, I love the song that's playing, and I love how different. It's not just everything's EDM or everything's pop or everything's rock, right? The artists that we've seen, they all have their own style, and I like the fact that even though it's not the main focus, clearly Echo's journey into becoming a well-known artist is. I like the fact that everyone, you can see why they draw a crowd, or why people who normally wouldn't look at certain characters like the mentioned Echo, the reason she can capture them is because her singing is fantastic. Honestly, the OST so far, with what I've heard, is up there with a Watanabe production, stuff like Carol and Tuesday, Cowboy Bebop. That's how much I like the OST so far. Will I be covering this one every single episode? Hard to say, because I already pretty much have my schedule finished. This is one of the shows that I like the opening so much that I decided to check out the episode 1, and honestly, then I couldn't put it down and finish the 3 episodes that were out. So if this video does well enough, I will cover it more. It's just a matter of if the demand's there, because if the demand's not there, I already have my schedule filled, so I'm not going to add more burden into my schedule if people don't care about these videos. But if it does well, I'll definitely cover episode 4 throughout 12, because I'm going to be watching this one way or another. It's just a matter of if I'll do videos. So let me know what you thought, whether if you want more videos on this show, what you think of the first 3 episodes. Excited for episode 4, let me know down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. Till next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.